Hi there! Welcome to Ancestral Recall. This is Eli Kaplan. Today's story is going to be about the feature match table. Why listen to my stories? Because my stories are best stories. I used to write feature match coverage for Wizards when I lived in Japan. From 2000 to 2008, I covered a slew of GPs and the occasional Nationals or Pro Tour. And cray-cray things happened on the tables with the fancy playmats. The worst feature match I ever happened to cover was my second one at GP Kobe 2001. Really big tournament, 1,350 players. Format, Invasion Block constructed. Toshiki Tsukamoto, one of the earliest Japanese pros who eventually ended up sliding off the Pro Tour and never coming back, was stalling. He was up a game, his opponent had the Spectral Links out, and he was counting the cards in his library slowly. Then he'd check his opponent's library and count the cards there slowly. He was stalling. He was stalling out his ass. And he was in the tank constantly. I was there typing. The table judge was there just keeping track of life. And that was all the table judge was doing. I didn't want to yell at the table judge. I kind of pointed to the table judge, and pointed to the wrist as in, hey, what about time? He just shrugged. I got very frustrated. So during a 10-minute turn where Tsukamoto was counting his opponent's library, the second time I typed in on WordPad and pointed to some spectators, get a judge, he is stalling. Well, another judge came over. He's got the story from me. The match ended 1-0 in a draw. 15-minute turns sucks when you're writing coverage. Anyway, Tsukamoto got a game loss for the following round. It was tough because I was watching coverage as a writer, and I didn't want to change the outcome of the match, but what do you do when there's blatant cheating right in front of you? Well, that was a bad story, but I want to tell you about the craziest story I saw. Japanese Nationals 2007. Shu Komuro, an invitationalist, a GP winner, a Pro Tour winner. He only gets one Pro Tour top 8, but he takes it all the way. He was playing for a Japanese national team spot against Makoto Nagashima. Komuro was playing a 3-color Momentary Blink deck that included a Chroma Angel of Fury. He can't hardcast it, but he can turn it up with Momentary Blink. His opponent, Makoto Nagashima, was playing Project X, an infinite life gain combo deck with a side of serious beatdown. Okay, here's the situation. My parents were away, so it's a best of 5 game. Game 3, Shukomuro demonstrated a rules procedure, and this sets up his demise. He attacked his opponent, who's on 5 life, with an unmorphed Chroma. His opponent blocks with Birds of Paradise. Komuro demonstrates that he didn't know that red Chroma had Trample. The birds took 6 damage, Nagashima shrugged, drew a blank, and scooped. Komuro was having a long day, and he hadn't had a chance to use a Chroma from the board all day. It was an honest mistake, and in Game 3 he won the game, but he still needed to win one more game. Nagashima picks up Game 4, so it's last game, Game 5. Whoever goes on to win makes it to the national team. The same scenario comes up in Game 5. Nagashima is trying to stay alive, and Komuro gets his only win condition that really works against an infinite life gain deck. He flips a Chroma on turn 4 and starts swinging to try to finish the game off. His opponent plays not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Birds of Paradise off the top of the deck to chump. Komuro absolutely could have won the game. Komuro didn't know what was going on. He kept attacking. His opponent was still sitting pretty at 4 life because anytime he had looked down to actually read the Chroma, he would have known he had already won the game. The crowd is whispering. I can hear them whispering. What's going on? Who won this game? It's the last attack set for Komuro before his opponent does a crackback for lethal. So he sends his Chroma. The Bird of Paradise shows up and blocks, and what happens? Komuro starts packing his cards up, and his opponent does too at pretty much the same time, and the crowd yells, "Trample, trample!" His opponent says, "I concede." Komuro says, No, I conceded." Chaos ensues. The judges come over, they get the stories from all the participants, including me, and I tell them we've already established that Komuro's relationship with the rules and the way he's interpreting them up to this point, including in Game 3, is that he didn't know that Redachroma had trample, so they were resolving the combat as such. The game state is irretrievable, and Komuro ends up getting the match loss. He still makes it to the national team later because one player can't make it, but he's out prize money. I don't want to blame Komuro, but really, he should have read the card. That is a very important lesson. That's why they print sleeves with RTFC on the back. Debacles happen. One more story. This is from GP Osaka 2004. That's the one where I made top 8. In round 2, against Tomoharu Saito, Saito's down the game and he's under pressure. He tries to run a rather sneaky cheat. I've got the board locked down and I'm beating him down. Saito's out against me is Hanabi Blast. I'm at 7 life. He has 4 cards in hand. He can only play Hanabi Blast once a turn. Hanabi Blast, by the way, it's an instant shock that goes back to your hand on resolution, and after that happens, he discards a card at random. So if Saito can hit 3 Hanabi Blasts in a row aimed at me, then he's going to win. This is the first time he's played Hanabi Blast, but I know that this is his only path to victory. I tell him to put his hand down on the table. He's got 4 cards, and I get out of the D6. I point to each card. 1, 2, 3, 4. I roll 5. He immediately grabs card number 1, says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and flips it over. I say, no! No. Saito is trying to stack the odds here. He says, I showed you already what the card is. I tell him, no. The odds were not equal for each card. He claims not to understand me and calls a judge. I tell the judge my story and tell him how Saito is changing the odds on the D6. Saito tells his story to the judge, and the judge says, just redo the random discard. Saito puts down the cards, and I point to them. 1, 2, 3, 4. He says, are you going to do this again? And he picks up his card and puts them back down again. And I say, no. And I go immediately for card number 3. I flip over card 3. Yeah, it's Hanabi Blast. He discards it, and he packs in the game the next turn. Why am I sharing this story? It's not that I have a beef with Saito. Saito's a legitimately great player who is incredibly sharp. He knows how to keep his focus. He calculates odds. He's a great draft reader. He is able to read his opponents and put them on certain plays. The problem is, Saito's so smart, he thinks he can increase the odds of victory by taking shortcuts, such as stalling when he's in trouble, or misleading his opponent into thinking odds are random. I don't think he does this anymore, as far as I know, but it's not a premeditated mindset. It's just he's so good and he's so driven for advantage that he just makes plays like this. It's not premeditated. But I want to tell you this story so that when you see random discards, you know how not to get cheated. Hey, thanks for watching. This has been Ancestral Recall. If you like this show, please like below, click like. You can subscribe to find out when I put out new stuff. I'm trying to work at about a weekly schedule. You can follow us on Twitter. You can get in touch with me on Facebook. You can contact me on Modo. I would really want to hear what you guys like. That feedback will help me better direct what I'm going to do in the future. Thanks a lot, good games, and good luck!